Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am so glad to have with me my dear friend, Derrick Chatman, and we've done a lot of things together in the past, Derrick, but you've got I want to say a brand new book, but your first book, right?
My first book. First
Yeah.
of all, thank you for having me on here. We got a long history, but it's still like the first time, with
Yep.
being that it's a book and it's new, yes.
Yep. And I'm holding it in my hand here. You're looking at it on the screen right there as we talk, but Living in the Mortuary. And the first thing struck me, not just the fact you've got your first book coming out, and I'm honored to sit down with you and talk about it, but the cover on the book. Let's tell me about that first. The lady on the front of the book, and just very interesting. It just catches your eye right off the bat.
Well, actually, that is my god sister. Her name is Katrina Relaford. She's in Savannah, Georgia. And I found this building in Savannah that when I saw it, I was like, that is the perfect vision for an old, dilapidated mortuary. And as you read, you find it's in a shed. So that's how the picture came about.
And you know, a lot of people talk about, well, I'd like to write a book one day. But you actually have written this book. And tell me how long you have been saying to yourself, I'd like to write a book.
Oh my goodness. I started this book in 2002. And as you know, life presents its challenges and you put the things that you're doing on the back burner. So I've been through several cities and states in my radio career, moving around, like divorce, marriage, children growing up, then the passing of my mother. But it wasn't until my mother read the first 5 chapters and she laughs. She couldn't hardly talk at this time. My mother passed. She had Parkinson's and she had a stroke. And but she was able to laugh at the first 5 chapters so hard that she could hardly get any air out. So I was like, I know I've got to finish this book now. And when she passed in July, it wasn't until that point that I was able to finish writing the book. The characters were always there. What they were doing, it's been with me since 2002. But I was finally able to sit down and let it all come out of my fingertips.
And you had 2 people very dear to you die within a matter of a week, didn't you?
It was an amazing experience, and it teaches you so much about life. 2 people that I really, really admired. My godmother in Savannah, and I moved to Savannah in 2014. So I was able to reunite with the God family that I spent all my summers with. And she passed 1 week before my mother passed. And none of it was expected at that time. So it was, I dedicate the book to both of those ladies, Essie Mae Relaford and Cora Tillman Chatman Smith.
The name of the book is Living in the Mortuary.
Living in the Mortuary.
That's the next thing. Where'd the title come from?
Well, it's just a cliche on the title, Living in the Mortuary. I don't want to give away all the book, but the character's name is Azalea, and she moves away to New York to become a Broadway actress. And this is set in like 1998. She comes back home. Her father dies. Her father and mother live in Macon, Georgia. And so she comes back to help her mother with the estate. And at the reading of the will, it was determined that her mother got $125,000 and the sole ownership of the house. She got, Azalea, $60,000 and sole ownership of the house. So Azalea's been in New York. She's a smarty. She wants clarity from the attorney. The mother starts laughing like she's lost her mind. Azalea becomes concerned about her mother. But what it turns out in the reading of it is Azalea was left her birth home, which is a mortuary. She was born in the mortuary. And in the will, she has 3 days to move into this place and start bringing it back up to code because her father got sick, and he was a well-liked community man, and he was actually in Dublin. And as you read, you'll find the travels from Macon leads her back to Dublin. And she has to come back and bring it up to code, and she has to live in the mortuary to get her $60,000 inheritance.
Okay, we're going to leave that part You got to read the book.
You got to read the book.
And it's an easy read.
Very easy
it's,
read.
It's 128, 129 pages,
Yes.
so it's a very easy read.
Very easy read.
You could actually, if you like me, you like to sit down and read, you'd probably do it in one sitting. And I'm proud. I've actually got an autographed copy here. And we are at the Olive Branch is where we're actually talking right now.
We are at the Olive Branch,
And
yes.
that's one of the places that you'll be able to get the book in there.
Absolutely. The Olive Branch has been very nice. Mm-hmm. They want to carry your local hometown author's book, which makes me real proud to have it here. I'm having a book signing on Saturday, the 15th of October, and at Dublin Middle School cafeteria at 7:30, so people can come out to the book signing. And if they're seeing this after the book signing, they can always go to Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, or first of all, come here to the Olive Branch and get your copy of the book.
And you should be doing a book signing maybe in the near future.
I'll be doing a book signing in the near future here at the Olive Branch. We just got things set up today, and we're working out the details for that.
And if you're new to Dublin, you might not know Derrick. His family grew up here. You got a pile of brothers.
6 brothers. It was 7 Chatman sons.
Boy, your mama.
Yes.
She had a tough time, didn't she?
Actually, she didn't. It was like we had a tough time.
Yeah.
As a mother and our grandmother, Lizzie Tillman, who raised all of the 7 sons. And, you know, we're all grown now, but thank goodness none of us went to jail or prison, which was during that time you find African-American sons or boys, you know, at the level of most likely to get into some type of mischief or be stereotyped.
That's right.
And we were able to do creative things, which comes back to my writing and my life and entertainment and radio. And my brother, Tim, being the police chief, was always the police chief in the house. So they kept us on a creative tip. He played drums and my other brother sang, but we had to go to school and we had to do the things, and then we could have all the fun we wanted to.
Yeah. And one thing about us, we've known each other for years, but
many years.
We love everybody.
Yes.
And we support the white community, the black community. We want all kids to grow up and be productive citizens.
Absolutely.
And with that said, what would you say to young boys and girls that's watching us right now about getting some traction and looking at their future?
Well, first of all, they have got to focus on what it is they really want to do. Don't let no one make you feel like you're doing something that's never going to happen if it's a great goal. A lot of times, young people have goals, and some of their worst critics are adults, other children, or persons their age. And you get disenchanted because, first of all, you've got to work on it. You have no roadmap, and it's just a dream. But if you believe in your dream, stay on it and do it. You can do it. Yeah. And you'll meet people along the way. God will bring people to you who will help you open up those doors and guide you to the goals that you want. Because I promise you, I've seen a lot. I'm from Dublin. I've been able to interview 2 presidents of the United States. And be honest, I've never worked a full radio shift in my life. I've always done my own show, which would be 1 hour or 3 hours, whatever I created based on my terms. I have friends who are TV journalists for major TV stations throughout the United States, major radio stations. They've never interviewed the governor. And I'm from Dublin, and I've interviewed President Clinton, President Carter, and I forget all the other celebrities, a lot of celebrities. Yeah. But that just tell you, I dreamed it. Yeah. I said one day to myself, I'm going to be that guy. And it happens.
Yep. And don't listen to the naysayers. People
No.
always along life's roads telling you, you can't do that. I can't believe you're trying to do that. You got to just, like you said, move forward. Keep your eye on the prize.
Exactly.
And you mentioned something earlier, but put your faith in God. You
Yes.
gotta,
Yes.
if you don't, because man will let you down.
Yep.
But God will never abandon you. We abandon God, but God will always stick by you.
That's right.
Well, let's take a quick break and come back. We're going to continue our conversation with Derrick Chatman and our brand new book, Living in the Mortuary.
Don't you go nowhere. Don't you even think about changing that dial.
We'll be right back.
You are the man of the hour, the king of the castle. Your subjects look upon you in awe and anticipation because you're about to make their culinary dreams come true. Guess you should have had natural gas.
Brought to you by the City of Dublin.
Welcome back, everybody. We're still talking to Derrick Chatman, talking about his new book, Living in the Mortuary. And, you've always worked in the community. And no matter where you were, of course, growing up in Dublin and growing up with all those brothers. And you mentioned a moment ago, always on the straight and narrow. Never, we've always done things in life everybody does you're not proud of, but staying out of jail, keeping your nose clean, and working hard for your goals. And no matter where you've gone, I know you worked in Macon, you in Savannah, you always participate and support the community, don't you?
Absolutely. And that is just a natural. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not I'm Mr. Community Man.
Yeah.
But why not? Why not get involved in something in your own way that you can? There may be just a couple of organizations you want to work with, and then you can give a lot more of yourself than sometimes spread yourself too thin. So I just try to be impactful for whatever organizations that I'm working with.
Entertainment's a tough business. I know I got friends been in Nashville for 20 years trying to get that break, and they pass out their demo tapes to whoever trying to get their name out. And the entertainment business is tough, but you promoted a lot of people through the years. What would you say to kids watching us and young people watching us now that love the entertainment business, but it's just a lofty goal? What would you say to those?
Well, I tell you, it's hard work. It can be very you can be very disappointed really quickly in the business. Not only as an artist, but as a manager. You have artists that you can work with and give them your all, and something pulls them away from the project. And the disappointing thing is not the artist per se, it's what was that pulled them from the project and what made them feel like they couldn't make it. But for artists who really, really want to make it, do your homework. First of all, be prepared to invest in yourself. I just attended a conference in Atlanta in August, the MBE conference, a major conference, Music Business Empowerment. I told so many artists in Dublin about it, and unfortunately, a lot of the artists, they weren't willing to spend their registration money to register. And you're talking about a conference that brings radio program directors, record rep, industry, top brass reps to speak to you, to give you the knowledge. You have to be willing to invest in yourself and not accept excuses from yourself. And you have to be willing to go at it if you have to go at it alone. But the main thing is get in and stick with it. If you stick with it, you'll get the results.
Yeah. Let's talk about race. We grew up, we come through integration. I started the school, we were all white schools, had the black schools, and then we integrated. And I've never had the problems that we see in life today with people, with law enforcement. And of course, you have the privilege of seeing both sides of it. You work with young black men, and of course, your brother is chief of police here in Dublin. He served his whole life doing the right things, enforcing the law. And people like us, we're for law. But what would you say to people with what's going on in the world about how to deal with law enforcement and how to make sure that we don't have the problems in our community that we see throughout the country?
Well, first of all, for me, growing up in Dublin, I was with the first class of integration from first grade up. Some people integrated at high school, but I was first grade, and most of the people who were in my first grade class are still my great friends today and throughout my life. But one of the things is you have to be honest. You see a lot of the stuff on TV in other areas. If there is, let's say, a shooting, sometimes the person who got shot was really wrong. And it can immediately snowball into the police did something wrong. So we have to be honest about what are we doing to participate in the right or the wrong things when it comes to law enforcement. Now, we already know that historically, African American males are stereotyped.
Yep.
And so in preparation, for even myself, I've been in a store as recently as a month or so ago. And I had an eyeball on me. It's like there is
And you
nothing.
knew that, didn't you?
Oh, I knew it. It's like you can feel that more than you feel the camera,
And you straight as a string.
Hey, and I was like, there's nothing in here I want to steal, period.
Yeah.
But it happens. And sometimes that type of effect is brought on from how others may have created the situation. And then sometimes there's an innocence of it that there's a lot of people who don't do things. So my whole point is you have to be honest in those situations. Not only the citizens, but the police have to be honest. If they panicked and say they shot someone, as we've seen in other areas, they panicked. And so there are consequences for that. For years, it was behind the curtain. They fix up everything, and it'll be whatever the police said in the courts. All the way back to the segregated times. You see now people are getting out of prison after 25 years and evidence suppressed, and they're being exonerated now because there was no evidence, and the person has spent 25 years in prison for nothing.
That's terrible.
Something they've always said they were innocent of. So we have to be honest in our participation either way, and we have to look out for each other. We have to respect the police. They are definitely here to help us. They're not here to be bullies. They're here to help us. So we have to respect the police, love our police force, not just because my brother's the chief, but I've known a lot of police officers, GBI agents, all of my life, and they are some of the greatest people. So you have to be willing to be honest. And if you're in a community where it's not cool, which I've run into lately, to like the police, don't believe the hype. I'm going to speak on that language. Don't believe your friends because they don't like the police. You don't like the police. Or you think it's not cool to say you respect the police. It's not the way to go. There's no reason for that.
No, not at all. And we should respect everybody. You got to respect yourself first.
Exactly.
That's where it starts. But well, I really appreciate you sitting down and talking to me. I know you're busy.
Well,
you got a lot going on.
I do want to say one thing. I just want to thank everybody for their support. Also, besides dedicating the book to my mother and my godmother, two people who were very influential in my literary career, even my radio career. One is Miss Martha Green, my favorite English teacher of all time. She's going to be at the book signing, and she taught me the beauty of reading. And in high school, we were reading To Kill a Mockingbird.
Wow.
And that N word came up in that book in high school, and I shut down. I said, this is a prejudiced book. I ain't reading it no more. So I could never get past the N word. She sat next to me, and she said, read. And when I read it and I saw what the book was all about and the necessity of that word and the power of that book, I learned the beauty of reading is not to shut down, it's to read it, everything, before you draw a conclusion. And I thank Martha Green for that. And also Mr. Roscoe Brower. You heard me say it before. He's the greatest role model of all time. He, as a kid in Dublin Junior High School, he just took me under his wing. He already knew my mother, my grandmother from Oconee days. And he called me Tillman when he first saw me. That's my mother's maiden name. And I was a little smart with him. I was like, my name ain't Tillman, I'm Chatman. He said, boy, you Tillman, get on out of here. So I went home and told it on him, called myself telling my grandmother. And I didn't understand maiden names in junior high school. And she said, that's why he called you that. He know us by Tillman. But from that point on, that man took me under his wings. We grew up not with fathers. And he became my surrogate father. And he's still my main mentor today. So I just want to say thank you to those two people.
Yeah, what a great man. What a great woman. You I'm glad you said that. And still serving our community, Mr. Roscoe, he has done so much for this community. When he's been gone for 50 years, things he's done in this community will carry on.
Yep.
So, well, good. I'm glad you ended on that. The name of the book is Living in the Mortuary. It's available here at the Olive Branch, also on Amazon.com.
Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Books A Million.
Okay, well, just get it.
Just get it. And book signings.
Yeah, and please buy the book. You'll enjoy the book. Great guy here, Living in the Mortuary, Derrick Chatman.
Thank you, James, for having me.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us today.